Episode 13. My temper is even dirtier. Demon Lord. Name, Jiu Cheonyang. He is the younger brother of the Blood Heavenly Demon 9 Heavenly Sect. It has been 8 years since I became the Demon Lord, and by carrying out various dangerous missions, I have raised the Demon Army to the status of an elite organization recognized by everyone, both in name and reality. Seo Daeryong also knew the Demon Lord well. It means you did a good job. That's right. Can I see the letter that came in this time? Yes, I am here. He showed me the letter. The content, written crookedly as if trying to fool the handwriting, was very simple. Serious corruption occurred within the Magoon. Please investigate. After looking down at it for a while, Seo Daeryong asked, "Why are you doing that?" "Let me imagine. There is corruption within Hwangkyongak." "You found out?" I asked, looking at Seo Daeryong. "Then are you going to send a letter?" "If it were me, I wouldn't send it." Seo Daeryong's answer was without hesitation. "Yes? It has nothing to do with you." "No, that's not why." "Then?" "Nothing will change if you send a letter." I could sense a certain defeatism in his thoughtless answer. "Your nether pavilion exists to change the main school, right?" "Exactly, we are the sword used by those who want to change our school. Not the subject. If the higher-ups don't change, the school won't change." I never said anything like that. But his expression was, isn't it? Since he naturally had a gloomy mood, these pessimistic thoughts suited him well. Anyway, this person sent a letter. I think I'll die if I catch this. You can tell just by looking at him that he faked his handwriting like this. But why did this person send a letter? Like you said, nothing will change just because of this. In place of Seo Daeryong, who did not answer, Ian quietly stepped forward and answered. They couldn't have sent it because they were just. Could it be that they have a grudge against the person who committed corruption? That makes sense. I nodded and returned the letter to Seo Daeryong. Anyway, we must find this person. If we look easy, he'll never show up. Yes, I think so too. How is it? Can you do it? I have to do it. I already received the order and came here. I mean, it's really dangerous. The Demon Lord may be involved. Aren't you scared? Yes. Did you know that the last inspector died? I know. The investigator who died at that time was my immediate senior. Oh, I see. He was the marksman who taught me. I could feel some sadness in those calm words. Maybe the reason he memorized the information about all the demons in the demon army is because he wants to avenge his dead senior? Do you feel sad when you think of him? He died in vain. It is not a vain death. Because that death brought you and me here. And you have to be scared. They are the ones who killed the Hwangkyongak investigator and murdered his colleagues. In short, they are people with no backs. I don't want to be scared by those dirty bastards. I could clearly understand these words. He wanted to avenge his predecessor. A great anger sleeps in that small body. Now then, shall we go investigate? As I was leaving the residence with Seo Daeryong, Ian followed me. Young master, please take me too. She thought investigating Demon Army was dangerous. No, it's an official mission. This is the time to call it a day and get some rest. She needs to get away from me. Ian, who was looking at us worriedly as we walked away, suddenly looked around. I directed my energy backwards and stroked her head once. Don't worry, Ian. Because I have walked a very long way for days like these. The Demon Dragon Garden, where the demonic forces reside, was located in the western district of the main temple's outer hall. As expected from an elite organization, the building was large and the facilities were very good. When I arrived at the entrance to the Demon Dragon Garden with Seo Daeryong, 2 demons stopped me. As the demons boasted of their large size, these gatekeepers were also twice the size of an average person. Where are you from? This is Seo Daeryong, a special investigator at Hwangkyongak. Move! Although Seo Daeryong was small in stature, he had a strong personality. However, despite his force, the 2 demons were not nervous or scared at all. Rather, they mocked him. Special investigator? It doesn't look special at all. One of them spoke softly, as if he was talking to himself, but I heard it clearly because I was told to listen. Before I or Seo Daeryong could say anything, another guy quickly came out. You cannot enter without permission from above. Seo Dae-ryong issued an investigation order for this incident. The upper part is here. Here's the order. Wait a moment. I will report it to my superiors. We will meet your superiors in person. Move. I was just watching from behind to see how Seo Dae-ryong handled this matter. I heard you can't go in without permission. This order is permission. Their voices raised with each other. What bullshit. If you come here, you have to follow our laws. Dog sound. Without hesitation, Seo Dae-ryong mercilessly kicked the shin of the guy who was blocking his way. Sigh. Ooh. The guy who was clutching his shin suddenly raised his fist. You bastard! Seo Dae-ryong stood in his place and glared at the guy. To hit the Hwangkyongak investigator. That guy didn't dare hit Seo Dae-ryong. No matter how powerful the demon army was, if it assaulted the special investigator of Hwangkyongak, it would immediately send it to prison. Ooh, are you going to beat up this rat-sized thing and ask me for the price? This was exactly the level of demon army. Well, is it just the devil? Many of the demons at our school were living according to their nature without hesitation. We don't have magic. It may have existed at some point, but as of now, the magic has been lost. There are no worries about why our school should exist in Murim and what we should pursue in the future. A collection of evil people united by the wrong prejudice that being vicious and strong is justice and truth. If someone were to criticize our school like this, I would have nothing to refute. Seo Dae-ryong raised his voice. Move! I told you to wait until your superiors come. They didn't get out of the way. Seo Dae-ryong must have said this because this is the reality. Nothing will change if you send a letter. The current scuffle with that small body clearly shows the reality of our school. After watching for a while, I finally came out. Do you know who I am? Even though I came out, the momentum of the two guys did not subside. I know. I don't think you know much. What if you did this even though you knew it was me? As soon as he finished speaking, I kicked his luggage mercilessly. Since kicking the shin doesn't seem to solve the problem, I kicked something more important. Puck! Ah! The guy grabbed his lower leg and rolled over. Are you yelling at me while I'm watching? My fist got stuck in the face of the other guy who was embarrassed. Boom! The big guy was knocked out in one blow. Seo Dae-ryong looked at him with a surprised face. I guess he didn't know that he would beat up the demon army so openly. What are you doing? You have to take the lead. Yes, let's go. Seo Dae-ryong took the lead and I followed behind him. As if the news had already spread, before entering the main building, a group of demons swarmed to block the way. Move! When no one stepped aside, Seo Dae-ryong held out an order and spoke loudly. Can't you see this? You guys are interfering with the official investigation. Do you all want to rot in prison? No matter how much they raised their voices, they only snorted and no one seemed scared. Moreover, Seo Dae-ryong was looked down upon even more because of his small size. They parted ways and a man walked out. What kind of bastards come here and cause mischief? This is Special Investigator Seo Dae-ryong. Please identify yourself. This is the high party of the Magoon area. Are you okay, you bastard? At that time, Seo Dae-ryong quickly sent me a message. This person is actually the highest ranking person. He is known to be the most evil among the demonic forces. Godang must have seen him licking his lips while sending a message. Is this guy crazy about wanting to die? How dare you make a joke in front of someone? The guys at the front gate and these guys were literally useless people. The reason they ignored me was because the demon army itself was an organization that supported my brother. The demon lord's older brother, Hyolkyondoma, is also known as his brother's successor. That's why you're ignoring me so blatantly. Go great lord, I am a special investigator of the Hwangkyan Pavilion who came down under an official order. Be careful what you say. Seo Dae-ryong was confident even in front of the old temple. I like it. After watching the trashy disciples of Hyolkyondoma and the demonic army, I felt like my mind was purified when I saw Seo Dae-ryong. Godang rolled his eyes as if he didn't like Seo Dae-ryong's attitude. Careful what you say? What are you going to do if I don't do it? We will all be arrested for obstruction of the Hwangkyongak investigation and contempt for the investigators. Arrest? Ha 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 ha. As he laughed out loud, the subordinates around him also burst into laughter. Do it if you can. Even if executioners capable of using force had come along, they would have turned out like this. Seo Dae-ryong couldn't do anything else and turned to look at me. It's time for me to step forward again. Long time no see, Dae-ju go. I walked up to Godang with great strides and held his hand as if shaking his hand with a happy face. When did we last see each other? Was it at the last banquet? It's nice to see you like this. While I was happy to see him, Godang's expression was not so good. I think I need to see the Demon Lord urgently, so please stop being territorial here and open the way. Then I walked inside with him. The road naturally opened and Seo Dae-ryong and I entered together, still holding hands. His subordinates looked puzzled at the sight of Godang opening the way too easily compared to his initial momentum. I walked down the hallway and said goodbye to Godang in front of the stairs. I'll buy you a drink next time. Seo Dae-ryong asked with a surprised face because he opened the way and climbed the stairs so easily. Were you acquainted with Godang? No. I saw it for the first time today. But how? He's going to have to eat with his left hand for a while. I broke his hand when I shook his hand earlier. I beg your pardon. Seo Dae-ryong was so surprised that he screamed. How could one not be surprised to hear that the hand of the Demon Lord was broken without even making a mark? I had no idea that had happened. But why didn't he send his men to attack him? Then it becomes clear what happened to you, right? Broke your hand while shaking hands? I can't pay the ticket even if I feel embarrassed in front of my subordinates. Of course, that wasn't the only reason. When Godang, whose hand was broken by the sudden surprise attack, tried to fight back, I quickly sent a telegram. If you mess up, you'll never be able to use your hands again. I held my broken hand so tightly that I felt like I was going to crush it completely. Godang was scared because there was a previous precedent of crushing the arm of a Hyekion Doma disciple so that he could not recover. That foul-tempered old man won't just sit there. What if I just don't have it? I will do whatever it takes. If you do that, your head will explode and you will die. This is a prophecy. Seo Dae-ryong looked at me with a new look in his eyes. Isn't it respectable? Your personality is better than I thought. Why do you stop talking? Dirty. Are you the kind of person who can't lie? That's why I get a lot of hate. What may be hateful to one person may be likable to another. Seo Dae-ryong, who stared at me in silence for a moment, changed the topic. The Demon Lord's office is on the 7th floor. Let's go. It's needlessly high. Let's go. So we walked up to the 7th floor. Episode 14. These days, knowledgeable people are braver. There were people standing in front of the Demon Lord's office as well. I cannot see you without a prior appointment. There was an official investigation. Get out of the way. I can't do that. Since I did not want to see any more repeated scuffles between Seo Dae-ryong and the demon army, I held out the order that Seo Dae-ryong was holding in front of the demons. Do you see what symbol is drawn on this order? Since it was an official document, the symbol of the heavenly demon was engraved in the background. Blocking this order is not stopping us. It's stopping the religious leader. When the heavenly demon was mentioned, the demons were shocked. I'm probably the first person to mention Kyoma while showing the background of an official document. We can look at it in a funny way, but we can't look at this in a funny way, right? Is not it? Why? Are you going to look at me funny too? Should I report it like that? Oh no. Absolutely not. Then I heard someone's voice inside. Take them inside. The demons were relieved and opened the door. Seo Dae-ryong must have felt it. They should have done this to the gatekeepers earlier. It may have been difficult to dare to mention my father, but you must know that it is the authority of the heavenly demon that can be used in times like this. Confucius, please come here. Demon Lord Jiyu Qianyang was of ordinary build, but he had the power to overwhelm larger demon lords. However, he was inferior to his older brother, Hyekion Doma. It was a similar face and similar eyes, but the fire seen in the eyes of Hyekion Doma was not visible. It is more difficult to meet you than to meet my father. It looks like our kids have been rude. They are truly ignorant, so please understand. Seeing them rushing out and arguing, it looks like they have nothing to do, so why don't you at least read a book? Isn't it brave to be ignorant? It's an old saying. These days, knowledgeable people are braver. I plan my strategy well and know what to do. As I get older, I guess I fall behind the times. Even during our brief conversation, we were fighting. Demon Lord, who was worn out by school politics, accepted my words without emotional agitation. But for what reason did this Confucius take responsibility for this investigation? It looks like my father wants to punish me. B. I made some mistakes when I went hunting. Ah. The Demon Lord gave an expression that he finally understood. When you heard that they were sending me as an investigator, you must have thought about everything. Then why did this investigation by Huang Qiongak begin? Did he send a letter like before? Although he pretended not to worry, the Demon Lord must have been nervous inside. As with other organizations, Huang Qiongak was not a place that could be easily ignored. Huang Qiongak was a place where, if a crime was discovered, it would be executed according to the established law. I cannot tell you anything related to the investigation. Isn't it okay to tell us that much between us? How can you use the word between us so naturally? You really have to have this level of shamelessness to become the center of a faction fight on campus. I will be honest with you, my lord. That's right, a complaint has been sent. As expected. To be honest, Seo Dairayong, who was sitting next to me, looked at me. His eyes said, "Are you saying all this?" My eye said, "It's okay, you can tell me everything." The corners of the Demon Lord's mouth rose as they exchanged looks like this. In his eyes, these actions will look clumsy, so it is actually an advantageous situation for me. They say that when a letter comes in, Huang Qiongak must dispatch an investigator. I just found out about this for the first time. The Demon Lord naturally claimed his innocence. If you are in a position to lead ignorant and rough people like Demon Lord, you will suffer from all kinds of slander. I actually thought something like that wouldn't happen. Isn't it something you have to turn your head to even when doing evil? If they were as ignorant as you said, would they even think of submitting a letter? Ignorant people are not usually greedy. No matter how much you do, you have to be careful. When ignorance and greed come together, things that would never happen. Despite the subtle threats, I did not lose my smile. We will complete the investigation as quickly as possible, so please understand even if it is inconvenient. The Demon Lord's slightly stiff expression relaxed. You're uncomfortable? Are we like that? This is disappointing. Isn't it true that everyone knows that Hyel Doma supports my older brother? That's true, but isn't your brother and I am me? I support our Confucius. I smiled brightly at the blatant lie. Ha ha. Just your words are reassuring. Now then, please take care of the next few days. If you go out, I will give you a place to stay. I was about to get up and leave, but the Demon Lord attacked me. Be careful. I'm saying this because I'm really worried about you. Like last time, when the investigator was murdered. Could it be that the religious leader sent us here to kill Confucius? It's on my mind. Ha ha, I feel reassured just by hearing your words. Then I'll just leave. I left the office with Seo Dairayong. Judging by the heat on the back of his head, his expression must have been tense. Then you better be careful. It seems like the reason my father sent me was for one of you or me to die. Commander-in-Chief Sima Ming was watching the heavenly demon sword Wu Jin polishing his sword. It's been a while since you took out the black magic sword. One of the four great swords of the heavenly demon church was this black demon sword. The heavenly demon sword worn by the heavenly demon is the best sword, followed by this black demon sword. The third was the evil spirit sword and the last was the white flower sword. The treasured swords had their own characteristics. The black magic sword was rough and destructive, the spirit sword had a dark and evil energy, and the white flower sword was a sword with a soft and noble character. Did you take it out to give it to this Confucius? At that moment, GM Wujing's hand stopped for a moment and then resumed. If my son is lucky, he will receive it. Sima Ming could guess. If this Confucius handles this matter properly, he will give this sword as a gift. It won't be easy for this Confucius to deal with the Demon Lord. Sima Ming did not understand the religious leader's decision. Although it is said that the recent actions of the sword dance have been unexpected, it is not considered to be at the level of a match against the demon army. There have already been reports of a conflict with demonic forces. Maybe passing through Sochendong could actually be poisonous. Because of that confidence, I could have done things wrong. Still young. Even though he is young, he is still so young that it will not be easy to deal with that worn-out demon lord. Therefore, Sima Ming was confident that this black magic sword would return to the depths of the treasure trove. I should have taken matters into my own hands. We learned about this from the previous incident in which the Hwangkyongak investigator was murdered. The Demon Lord has captured the nether pillar or exploited its weakness. Hwangkyongak covered up his subordinate's death without properly re-investigating it. Therefore, rather than leaving it to Hwangkyongak, he tried to resolve it at Tongkyongak, which he led. Then GM Woojin said something unexpected. That guy said that we lost the magic sword. For a moment, Sima Ming was startled. Those words were rude not only to Heavenly Demon, but also to Sima Ming, who was in charge of the religion's military affairs. Sima Ming was more anxious than displeased. Is that why you sent it? In other words, these words were no different from saying, so are you trying to kill me? This thought was natural because Sima Ming had not yet directly experienced and felt the changes in sword dance. If you shout that loudly, you have to show it with action. These words also sounded like this to Sima Ming. If you were arrogant, you should take responsibility. Sima Ming was silent for a moment and watched Sword Woojin's hands carefully polishing the blade. Even though he sent his blood relatives to death, GM Woojin did not waver at all. So you say you will find the lost magic sword yourself? It seems so. If this Confucius' recent actions are anything to go by, we can look forward to it. GM Woojin remained silent and only focused on cleaning his sword. Sima Ming, who stood there for a moment and watched the swordsmanship, said goodbye. Then I have some work to do, so I'll just leave. Sima Ming greeted him politely and left. As I was walking down the red carpet, I glanced back. GM Woojin seemed uninterested in the life and death of the sword dance, but he was more sincere than ever in the way he polished the sword. No way? Do you believe that this Confucius will deal with the Demon Lord? I usually didn't show my feelings easily, but this time I couldn't even tell what the leader was thinking. Sima Ming took steps again. When he arrived at the end of the red carpet, Sima Ming came to this conclusion. As expected, the dark magic sword will return to the treasure trove. We made dumbfounded expressions in the room where the demon lords guided us. This is too much. The room they gave us was not cleaned at all. There was dust everywhere and there were even cobwebs on the ceiling. I cannot understand. No matter how much the demon lord follows the Archduke, the prince himself came here. In their eyes, I am someone who will disappear in the succession battle anyway. What does it mean to be pushed out in a succession battle rather than another battle? It means dying. Where is that? If you become friendly with me, there is a risk of being purged along with you. I pointed at Seo Daeryeon with my finger and then slit his throat with the blade of my hand. If you were friendly with me, you too would have been a bitch, but Seo Daeryeon didn't seem to mind that much. No matter how much it is. I don't think you can do something like this, even looking at you, the leader. You know that my father doesn't care about this. Rather, you are watching with interest, right? And this room is not the Demon Lord's work, but Godang's instructions. Because the narrow-minded person is holding a grudge. This is only shortening my reputation. Do not forget my prophecy. Anyway, I'm going to do some cleaning. Please stay out. Let's do it together. That can't be possible. Is there anything that can't be done? I cleaned up the place with Seo Daeryeon. He looked at me several times, wondering if it was strange that I was cleaning it myself. If you knew how much hardship I had suffered in my life before returning, you would know that cleaning like this was nothing to me. After finishing cleaning with him, Seo Daeryeon went and brought a clean blanket. Are you really going to sleep here? Who? May I ask why? We need to find the person who sent the letter. You need to be here as much as possible so you have a chance to reach us. Then I will be there. Confucius, please return to your home and sleep. If you sleep alone, a pervert might break in at night. What if a pervert who gets excited when he sees a small man comes in? I said it as a joke, but Seo Daeryeon took it seriously. Let's sleep together. What if I'm such a pervert? I will also bring out my hidden feelings. When the greyish guy told this joke, it felt like a cold wind blew between him and me. Hungry. Let's go get something to eat. When we left the room and left the building, Ildeju Godang was waiting for us at the entrance. His broken hand was wrapped in a bandage. I pretended not to know and greeted him warmly. Did you have dinner? If you haven't done so, let's go together. I guess I hurt my hand. How did you get hurt? Godeng glared at me like an angry beast. Even Marshal Kielkian would not look at me this scary. I guess he was originally going to give me a cold warning, but his face turned red as if he was getting angry at my obnoxious reaction. I will not forget your cowardly act, Confucius. He thought I had ambushed him and broken his hand. If you don't realize that even if it wasn't a surprise attack, nothing would have changed, any move you plan to make from now on will be a precarious tightrope walk on the edge of death. What do you mean? When I pretended not to notice and grabbed him, he gritted his teeth. Sometimes there are people who make mistakes. A noble person won't have a knife in their stomach. Can you hold a sword with that hand? We'll see. Do you drop your sword or your intestines? Even though it was over the line of abusive language, I smiled and waved, and he left in a huff. Aren't you being too provocative? That guy provoked me. Yes? He was the one who waited to threaten me, and he was the one who said he would stick a knife in my stomach, right? Now that I think about it, I guess so. Because he is a villain, he is that kind of person, so we understand villains for various reasons. I think that's ugly. Why do we understand the wicked? We need to set stricter standards. Much harsher than the average person. I thought it was not enough to keep my head down, and this villain was so excited that he wanted to die. Seo De Ryong nodded his head loudly, as if he completely sympathized. I saw someone who had poor taste in food, so let's buy the most expensive and delicious food. Yes. Can't you react a little more violently when you say you're going to spend money? Sorry. Because I don't enjoy eating. What do you want to enjoy? Go and eat the noodles. Yes. Seo De Ryong really had a short mouth. When I saw that half of that expensive dish was left over, I decided that I should just buy noodles next time. When we came back after eating, we stared at the bed blankly for a moment. A pair of dead crows were thrown on the bed. Seo De Ryong's eyes were still gloomy, but he became even more gloomy. I guess I'll have to get the blanket again. Before that, take that and follow me. Why is this? I said as I walked out of the room. We need dead crows more than live crows. Episode 15 because they are all equally ugly. Seo De Ryong followed me out holding a dead crow with an expression of confusion. Hang it over there. When Seo De Ryong's eyes asked me if I was serious, I said firmly. Hang it in the middle so you can see it clearly. I had Seo De Ryong hang the dead crow in the middle of the hallway where demonic forces frequented most. Upon hearing the news, demonic forces came. Some had interesting expressions, but most frowned and swore. Shit! What is that? Why bother risking an unluckily dead crow? What is the unit price if you are an investigator? Those unlucky Hwangkyongak bastards. TSK, my dream was dirty today. Isn't that the perfect place to tear the body into pieces and hang it up? They wore military uniforms with numbers symbolizing each generation written on their chests. So I could tell. The demons in the area who almost collided with each other at the entrance earlier cursed the most. Of course, he didn't mention me outright, but Hwangkyongak was my curse anyway. When the atmosphere became extremely hostile, one person could not stand it anymore and came forward. Isn't this too much? His voice echoed through the hallway. Who said it? Everyone here is equally ugly. While everyone was frowning, one man stepped forward. Jiang Hao, the three great lords of the Demon Lord. Django was the largest among the demonic forces. The muscles that looked like they were about to burst out of his uniform and the long sword that split his face gave the viewer the creeps. Seo De Ryong's electric sound flew in quickly. Jiang Hao, the three great lords, is known to have the strongest martial arts skills among the great lords. My personality is also not normal. Indeed, Django's presence was overwhelming among those present. What is our Lord Zhong dissatisfied with? Do you know that I have to tell you that? What are you going to do if you hang something ominous like this on people's roads? Isn't it better than being thrown on the bed? Don't make people feel bad, catch the person who did that and punish them. I quietly looked at Django. He showed his determination not to back down even an inch. The powerful demonic energy he emitted came out and pressured Seo De Ryong. The thing that made me suffocate for an instant was worthy of being evaluated as the strongest of the demon masters. You have a point. Inspector Seo, take that down again. Yes. Seo De Ryong took down the crow he had hung. The demon soldiers who were watching laughed openly. I'm very scared. Anyway, you have to be beaten to be obeyed. How dare you not know where this is? I returned to the room, leaving behind them who were openly cursing and laughing at me. Seo Dae-ryong asked as soon as he entered the room. Why on earth is the crow's corpse mine? I wish I could get off this easily. His face was red, as if his pride had been hurt. To find out who sent the letter, he asked with a puzzled expression. So did you find out? Who? Yes? Seo Dae-ryong's eyes widened as it was an unexpected answer. How? I looked at the crow and said, thanks to these guys. So go out and bury me well. The full-scale investigation began the next day. I gathered all 3 generations of Magoon together in one place. The person who came forward during yesterday's crow incident was Jang Ho, the head of the 3rd generation, so his dissatisfaction was natural. What are you doing? What are you doing? Didn't you hear that I came to investigate? Then why are you investigating our 3rd generation instead of the 1st generation? That's my heart. Aren't you holding a grudge over what happened yesterday? What happened yesterday? Django bit his lip and glared at me. You will have to submit all records. We will investigate not only his recent actions but also battlefield records. Then the 3 great demon armies began to murmur. Even an ordinary person would get a handful of dust if he intentionally brushed it off, but this is the devil. If I were to add a little joke, the nicest person here would be the leader of a black town over there. Django shouted. No matter how much you do, you can't do that. There is. Boom. Django smashed the desk in front of me. Hey, you're free to get excited, but don't forget that rebellion is a felony. Hearing that it was a crime of rebellion, several of the 3 great Majin rushed to stop Jang Ho. Please be patient, my lord. This is not a person with whom you can interact well. I stimulated Django even more. We will investigate you first, as the major owner. Good. Let's make a deal with me. You guys are out. Demonic energy swirled around Django. Then his subordinates calmed Jang Ho down. My lord. You shouldn't get excited. Don't worry, just go out. Yes. The subordinates looked at me with scary eyes and then went outside. I felt that his subordinates truly followed him. When all his subordinates left, Jang Ho spoke coldly. You'll regret treating me like this. The wound that split his face became even more hideously distorted. I stared at Django quietly, then lowered my voice and asked softly. How long will you test me? For a moment, Django was startled. What do you mean? You are the one who sent the letter, right? For a moment, Django's eyes wavered. What are you talking about? But he was not good at lying. As his eyes and even his voice trembled, Jang Ho readily admitted the truth. How did you know? When he spoke softly while being excited, it was as if he had become a different person. Yesterday you stepped into a situation where you didn't have to. Isn't that to avoid the Demon Lord's suspicions? You're right. Also, your 3 great warriors are the most disciplined. When you wore the crow, no one, except your subordinates, cursed or laughed at you. The same goes for the concern I had for you a little while ago. For a person who runs an organization like this to know one thing when he sees one, it would have been difficult for him to overlook corruption within the organization. Actually, that's not why I guessed it. The reason I recognized that Jang Ho was the person who sent the letter was thanks to the telegram sent by Seo Dae-ryong when Jang Ho first appeared. Jang Ho, the 3 great lords, is known to have the strongest martial arts skills among the great lords. My personality is also not normal. The moment I heard that electric sound, I remembered what happened before the return. During this period, there was an incident in which the head of the demon army died. The reason I remember it particularly well was because I heard that the great lord who died at the time was the strongest among the great lords of the demon army. He was so strong in martial arts, why did he die? I remember having that question. I was certain that the dead person was Jang Ho. He must have died at the hands of someone within the demon army while trying to resolve the issue by submitting a letter. As expected, the person who submitted the letter was Jang Ho. I wasn't sure if the letter would work properly, so I couldn't write down the details. Huang Qiongak also suspected that he might be under the influence of Hyol Qion Doma. But I never imagined that this Confucius would come out to investigate. How did you feel when you heard I was coming out? It may be presumptuous to say this, but I thought it was ruined. I looked back at Seo Dae-ryong and said, "Is honesty popular among young people these days? This Confucius is younger than us." "Oh, that's right." After smiling, he asked Django, "What on earth is going on here?" "The Demon Lord is using the Demon Lord for personal purposes." "How?" The inside story of this incident that Jang Ho told me was much more serious than I thought. They are receiving money and sending their subordinates to assassinate them. What? Even I, who is not surprised by most things, was surprised. I thought he was taking bribes from some local clan. Something that could never have happened was happening. With experts like Demon Lords moving, how can they move with just 1 or 2 pennies? "You will be making a lot of money," Seo Dae-ryong asked in surprise. "How is that possible?" "Sometimes they use it on vacation or send it under the pretext of special training." "Even so, I don't understand." "Unlike Dae-ryong Seo, I have noticed one case where it is possible. The whole community participated." "How did you know?" "When I guessed right away, Django was surprised. They were the first to stop us. They were the ones who cursed the most when they saw the crow's corpse. When something happens, they move together in unison. I told you earlier, right? They say you know 10 when you see 1. You can tell just by looking at the week." "How did you find out about this?" "The soldier who killed the investigator in the previous investigation and then committed suicide is my friend. The person who wrote the letter was that friend. It wasn't suicide, it was suicide." "You're right." "He told me that he had written a letter a few days before he died. In my pre-return life, I was not aware of this incident. There was only Jang Ho's death. Ultimately, this means that this incident was also buried without being revealed." "How close of a friend were you?" "It was my motivation to join the school. It was like family." "Why didn't you reveal it then?" "At the time, after they murdered my friend and the investigator, they kept a frighteningly strict surveillance inside. It was to the point where I couldn't even breathe properly." "Who killed it?" "I believe that the Demon Lord ordered it and the Lord Godang himself moved it. If Jang Ho's words are true, this was a huge corruption case involving the Demon Lord and the entire Demon Army region. Plus the murder of the investigator. It is truly the largest crime in the history of our school." "Did my father or Simon Ming really not know?" "I'm sure you've noticed it to some extent." "So he must have sent me. He sent me to test whether I could stand up to the Demon Lord and handle this matter. Even though the opponent is a Demon Lord and could die, when I think about it, it's too much. It is not true that a father of wild animals raises his cubs strong by dropping them off a cliff. When the baby falls, it jumps down with its quick feet and catches it." I looked at Django and said, "You have a good friend." "He was a good friend. If I had been a good friend, I would have stepped forward when he died. That's a foolish friend. Not all devils were trash." Seo Dae-ryong, who was watching, also seemed to be moved. The investigator who died in the previous investigation was also a senior he respected. Both of them were experiencing the pain of losing a close person in that incident. Looking at these two people, I felt that there was hope in Lost Magic Island. The Church of the Heavenly Demon that I want is a place where people like this take on important responsibilities. "Thank you for your courage." I decided to trust this Confucius after seeing that he recognized me at once. "It was a good choice. By the way, is there any problem if I steal your battlefield records?" "Doesn't exist. Even if you shake it off, not a single dust will come out. Everyone has dust. Because you can turn things into dust that you don't even think of as dust. Don't worry. I'm not going to shake it that much." I opened the door and went out. In the distance, the 3 great subordinates were waiting. "Daeju Jang has decided to hand over all records on your behalf. So you can all go back." Django shouted and criticized my acting. "We'll see. If I were without sin, I wouldn't just stay." There was gratitude in his eyes. This is because he made his subordinates trust him more by telling them that he was being investigated on their behalf. The Django before his return is dead, but the current Django will not die. Because that is the purpose of my return, to save people who should not die. When I closed the door, Seo Dae-ryong spoke to me. "This Confucius seems to be very different from the one I heard through rumors." "What are the rumors?" Just be honest. You're spreading rumors, right? It's not what you think." There is a saying that it is not suitable for the heavenly horse. Sorry. Are you okay? Maybe it's a compliment. Yes? Is it a compliment to be worthy of a heavenly horse? I think not. I think that governing our school through a reign of terror is an anachronistic idea. Shouldn't our school change now? When talking about change, Li Chai flashed across Seo Dae-ryong's eyes. However, he soon spoke in a somewhat gloomy tone. Change is easier said than done. Right. It's not easy. If you become a Kionma, will you try to change your school? Of course. If nothing changes, the only result waiting for us is that our family will be destroyed and our school will be ruined. But instead of expressing his true feelings, he said something else. Actually, rather than becoming a Kionma, I would rather play in the midfield or go on a cruise. Actually, these words were true to some extent. After killing Hwamugi, I plan to tour the Central Plains and have fun. Everyone is willing to sell their souls to become the heavenly demon. What are you talking about? I won't deny it. That's because you are a power-oriented person. Me? I suddenly asked him as his eyes widened as if he was being unfairly treated. Are you happy when you help someone? No. Are you happy if you get promoted? Yes. Soon, Seo Dae-ryong sighed and scolded himself. Oh, I was a power-oriented person. Everyone has different conditions for happiness. Some people want money and power. Some people live quietly. And some people are narrow-minded. Is it possible to be happy by practicing agreement? Do you think it's pretense? Yes. I have experienced such a person in my past life. A person who is so selfish that he puts on a disguise to hide it. So in the end, he is a person who even deceives himself. Although he was not good, he believed that he was walking the path of negotiation until the end. When I see someone like that, I feel more uncomfortable than someone who openly reveals their ambitions, but I don't intend to criticize him. Because that too is just a way of living. There are many people in this martial arts world who live by true principles. There are people too big for your or my soy sauce-sized heart to fathom. He stared at me for a moment and sighed. I'm a power-oriented person, so I'm not sure. I smiled while looking at Seo Dae-ryong. I don't know how it will look to my peers, but at least to me, it looks cute like this. Stop reflecting on yourself if it doesn't suit you. Go and get some records about Django. As I said before, shake it off moderately. And bring in more Hwangkyonggak investigators. It sets the tone that a large-scale investigation will begin from now on. All right. I stood at the window and looked out. At that moment, in the building across from me, the Demon Lord was standing at the window and looking at me. Our eyes met, but I pretended not to notice. Because what I was looking at was not the insignificant person, but the Kionmajian seen in the distance beyond. You've already heard the answer to episode 16. In the afternoon, Seo Dae-ryong brought over a dozen Hwangkyonggak investigators. As it seemed like a full-scale investigation was about to begin, the demon army began to become agitated. A rumor spread that all the demonic forces, led by Django, were to be thoroughly raided. And that evening, an accident occurred. While I was resting in my room, an investigator from Hwangkyonggak came running to me. There was a big problem. I think you should go quickly. When I got there, I saw that the hallway in front of the interrogation room was a mess. A fight broke out between the demon army and the investigators. Stop moving! I went through the standoff between the demon army and the investigators and stopped the fight. One of the investigators was lying bleeding. It wasn't just about being beaten up. Blood flowed from his torn face and even his ribs were broken. Seo Dae-ryong was angry and came forward, but he was unable to withstand the demonic forces and was beaten as well. Are you hurt a lot? I'm fine, but my colleague was seriously injured. Hurry and take me to the dressing room. Other investigators took him out after he collapsed. The leader of this incident, Lord Godang, was shamelessly there. You did this? Exactly. The demons standing around were all demons from the demon army. Perhaps that was why Godang was not at all intimidated. Rather, he was enjoying this situation, and the subordinates around him also looked like they were about to giggle at any moment. For some reason, it feels like a prophecy will come true. Seo Dae-ryong, who knew what the prophecy was, swallowed his saliva. What kind of prophecy is this all of a sudden? In response to Godang's question, Seo Daeryong looked at his head and answered on his behalf. Go great lord, this is probably a prophecy you never want to know about. Then, Confucius, I will also make a prophecy for you. Our Confucius, after being pushed out of the competition for successor, will be kicked out of his school and will have to live off the backs of the Murim Alliance faction. The demon soldiers in the area who were listening laughed and laughed. Instead of getting angry, I was happy. Oh, what a wonderful prophecy! Is it cool? You survived even though you were pushed out in the battle for succession, right? Besides, you can live your whole life without working. Isn't the dream of eating without action a dream for all of us? Thank you so much for the prophecy. I will live Jay's life there. Conversely, Godang, who was ridiculed, hardened his impression. Why did you hurt the Hwangkyongak warrior? I bumped into my shoulder in the hallway. I just looked after you because you left without an apology. You must have hit your shoulder. Even if he apologized, I wouldn't have let it go. Godang was smiling without denying it. The demons around them also laughed together. It's poison. Godang asked curiously what I said. Poison? Your minions are poison to you. What nonsense. As long as his subordinates are watching, he will not back down due to his pride and will ultimately lead to the destruction I planned. Didn't you, Godang, kill a warrior from our school like this last year? The year before last, a fight broke out in a bar and 3 people were killed. The opponents were all low-level warriors, and the demon army covered it up before it became an incident. Because there are assholes all over the world who have no respect for their seniors. The look in his eyes that said, a guy like you flew towards me. Do you know that? I brought you something when I came down. What is that? Right to summary disposition. At the mention of the right to summary disposition, the surroundings suddenly became quiet. But Godang instead just snorted. What would you do if you had the power? You don't have the ability to dispose of it. At those words, the subordinates burst into laughter again. This is the poison I spoke of. This is what happens when a foolish person becomes conscious of the gaze of those around him. Normally, he would be very nervous, but he is showing off in front of his subordinates. I'm the only one who doesn't know what kind of stage I'm standing on. As I took a step closer, all the demons around the temple rushed forward. To mess with us is to mess with the entire demon army. I don't know if this Confucius really has that kind of courage. At least I don't hide behind subordinates. He raised his bandaged right hand. I was injured by some cowardly person. At that time, I raised my right hand and said, I won't use my right hand either. Godang was shocked, as if he had not expected it to come out like this. However, he was under the illusion that he was the main character on this stage. And if you get hurt, are you going to go to the religious leader and tell him? His subordinates burst into laughter. Every time they laughed, the stage became hotter. I will not hold you responsible even if you get hurt or even die. You made an oath. I struck my sword twice and swore. Only then did he accept my challenge. Okay. Let's stick somewhere. Godang drew his sword and held it in his left hand. The reason he stepped forward with confidence was because his left hand could handle the sword as skillfully as his right hand. On the other hand, I was right hand. I walked forward slowly, putting my right hand behind my waist as if I was holding back. What if I use that hand because it's urgent? Godang seemed afraid that I would use my right hand. Tell your subordinates to join forces and kill me. Joy! You are confident. I heard that you recently held a fun party with the immature members of the Namdo Order. I guess I gained confidence from there. Actually, your acting is more fun. Shut up. Godang rushed in with his sword. I thought this match was also part of my training. What is important in training is, of course, practical training. Real-life combat with the Demon Lord is an experience that money cannot buy. There was no moderation in Godang. He did everything in his power to hurt me somehow. Every time the sword missed, sighs that it was a waste of money were heard everywhere. Although it may have seemed scary to them, as if I was about to be stabbed by a sword at any moment, my heart was as calm as a lake. After fighting him, I know for sure. My current state is that I can easily deal with Godang with my left hand. Everyone's interest in the outcome of this fight will be how soon. The number I decided on was 40. When this fight is over, rumors will spread like this. This Confucius killed the first lord of the demon army in 400 days. Since he defeated Yang Po, a disciple of Hyolkian Doma, in 200 million, if he beat Godang in 400 million, it would be considered fairly balanced. When I reached the 40th move, I changed my walking method and delved into the guy. The moment I grabbed the wrist holding the sword, Godang roughly shook me off and tried to retreat. But if that were possible, my arm wouldn't have been grabbed in the first place. Let's turn my body around while holding my arms. Do doi duke. Godang's arm was twisted like a clothesline, and bones protruded from his wrist. Ah! The fist flew into the screaming man's face again. Godang fell to the floor with a heavy hitting sound. I jumped on the fallen guy's body and slammed my fist into him. If he had used internal energy, he would have died instantly, but he was shocked without using internal energy. Puck! POW! Puck! One of the demons in the area who was watching rushed forward. I swung my sword while sitting on Godang's boat. The lower abdomen of the one that was running split and fell forward. Since they didn't know that I would cut him down with a single sword, not only the demon army but also Seo Daeryong and the Hwangkyongak investigators were greatly surprised. Crazy! Kill! Two of Godang's limbs rushed forward, drawing their swords. The attack they made in an emergency situation became their last move in life. I jumped up and swung my sword in succession. Their swords grazed my body, but mine landed exactly where they were aimed. Sigh! Phew! The two who had their necks pierced fell down with blood spewing out in all directions. The place quickly became a sea of blood. When their three companions became corpses, the demon soldiers hesitated as to whether they should rush in or not. I shouted loudly. The crime of those who just died is treason. They froze at the word treason. After pinning them down, I walked over to Godang, who had collapsed. The same goes for your great lord. It is a clear crime of treason because you beat and seriously injured a person who came under the orders of the religious leader. He looked down at him and said coldly, "Do you know what happened to the families of the people you killed in a fight at a bar last year? Don't you know? You probably didn't even care. Losing a father, losing a child, losing a husband. Are those people living properly? What are you doing, hitting people? What are you doing, killing our believers? Please save me." Although his face was covered in blood, he was full of the desire to live. Why me? I will repent. Blood flowed out of the guy's mouth. Lie. It's going to be like that in the future, right? No. Absolutely not. You said it? I will continue to do so. When did I? Your past life has told me everything. I raised my foot and struck Godang's head at a sharp angle. Shoo! Kwajik! The guy's head exploded like a watermelon and he died instantly. For a moment, silence fell there. No one would have imagined that the demon lord would kill his favorite Godang by breaking his head. After killing Godang, I shouted to the demons in the area. Treason is a summary punishment. Do you want to get married? Still hold your sword up. Then the demons in the area all put down their swords. Daeju is already dead, and if he steps forward for no reason, his head will be blown off. They were overwhelmed by my martial arts ability to cut them down with a single sword. The entire demon army will withdraw and remain under guard until there is a special order. If you leave your room after this time, you will be punished for treason, so please understand. When I motioned for them all to go out, they didn't dare refuse and they all went out. The Hwangkyongak investigators who were watching were looking at me with surprised faces. The emotions mixed with that surprise were clearly joy and excitement. Seo Daeryong told me, "You are much stronger than I thought. What did you think?" Well, I didn't know we could win the entire demon army. We had a prophecy. It was meant to make him laugh, but Seo Daeryong didn't laugh. He looked around at the corpses lying around with a nervous face. No matter how much you are Confucius, is it okay for me to do this? I spoke firmly to the scared man. Don't make a fuss over only 3 or 4 people being killed. I came prepared to cut down half of the demon army. It was a moment to see how small Seo Daeryong usually opens his eyes. That evening, the demon lord came to see me. He was waiting at the base of Magashon, not in his office. There were about a dozen Kiru in Magashon, and although no one decided, the place to go to was naturally determined according to position. The Giru that the demon lord was waiting for was a top-class Giru. I called you here to have a drink with you after a long time. He treated me as if nothing had happened. In fact, it was more subtle and soft than usual. Have you ever been here? This is my first time. I like it here. Indeed, the food and alcohol served were of the highest quality, and the courtesans were also very beautiful. The musicians' playing skills were also excellent. It looks expensive. It's the most expensive place in Regression. I prepared something special for you today. He was a person who was proud of such luxury and entertainment. I have to enjoy life to the fullest, not knowing when I will die. Isn't that right? You are correct. Let's drink now. I drank with him. The demon lord came here so often that he felt like it was his home. While drinking, he sang a song and even got up and danced with a courtesan. Even though he called me about Godang's death, he didn't mention it at all. In my past life, I was far from entertainment, so I only entertained people in moderation. After having a lot of fun and getting too drunk, the demon lord finally bitten the courtesans. There was a small accident with our kids. The words small accident reflected his will to deal with this incident. Yes. There was an unexpected collision. It was an incident where the leader of the demon army died. It was an incident that would turn the school upside down, but the demon lord tried to use this as an opportunity to turn things around. How about we sum it up by saying that good things are good things? I had no choice but to write it, but that person was a friend with a lot of scum in many ways. It meant blaming everything on the dead master and ending it. Hey, you're such a great piece of trash. Even so, he was just a confidant. Let alone revenge, they are trying to make you a criminal. This is why only the dead are pitiful. No matter how much it is for the investigation of the case, wouldn't it be a big problem if the fact that you killed the demon lord was also raised? I'm sorry about that. How is it? What does this conclude? Isn't one lord and 3 subordinates enough? Thank you for your consideration. I want to handle it well, but there is one problem. What problem? There is no evidence. There has been an official investigation, but shouldn't there be evidence to report it to the higher-ups? You just need to bring the right amount of evidence and attach it. That's troublesome. The letter that came in this time stated that an external contract had been received privately from the area. This is not an issue that can be brushed aside. He said he had heard this from Jiang Ho, but it was written in a letter. The demon lord tried hard to hide his surprise because he didn't know that I knew that fact. We really need evidence to close this case. He was not asked to provide evidence. But he would have understood it this way. This matter will end only when you provide evidence. After a short chat, the demon lord brought the courtesans in again to drink and play. The demon lord tried to have more fun than before, but I could feel his worries throughout the drinking session. His dancing wasn't as agile as before. Episode 17, Wicked People Are Not Excited. I parted ways with the demon lord and went to the medical room. Seo Daeryong, who was there first, was surprised. Huh? How can this Confucius get here? It seemed surprising that I had come there. Why are you so surprised? No. I didn't know that this Confucius would come all the way to his room. I'm more surprised that you're here. Yes? I heard you're hated by your colleagues. So I'm trying to make up for it. Contrary to what I said, I didn't feel much at odds with my colleagues. What is the status of my injured friend? The magician is currently treating you. Thank you for calling the Elder Ma. Of course I should call you. It's a temporary job, but I'm still a co-worker. It was something he said without much thought, but both Seo Daeryong and the Hwangkyonggak investigators next to him seemed slightly moved. After a while, the doctor came out of the treatment room. He was a divine doctor with the greatest medical skills in our school, and the religious sect called him a magic doctor. Sinewy liked being called that, so we called him Demon Ui. What is your condition? Luckily, there is no danger to my life. Instead, you will have to recuperate for a while before you can return. Please use the best medicine. Sure. The Hwangkyonggak investigators who heard our conversation came to me and expressed their gratitude. Even if I got hurt during a mission, I never had the opportunity to receive direct treatment from a magician like this. Seo Daeryong asked as he returned to his residence. What did the demon lord say? He wanted me to go back after this. What about the death of Lord Illinois? Let's make him the one behind this. Seo Daeryong was shocked. Your favorite subordinate died. It won't be your favorite subordinate, but the one you use best. Soon someone else will fill that void. What on earth did you expect from the Demon Lord? I thought he would go crazy seeking revenge for his subordinate. It's an illusion. Do you think the wicked will be more excited? Isn't it? It's the same with the Parako bastards. Real villains don't get excited easily. Rather, pure and kind people get excited easily. I quickly got emotional. Of course, the Demon Lord must have had great malice towards me. Whenever I get the chance, I will plunge a sword into my heart and recall today's humiliation. What are you going to do now? I threw out the bait, so let's see what happens. Bait? If you ask, I'll tell you. They said they need evidence to cover up the incident, so it's time to see how the Demon Lord comes out. So what should I do now? Let's have a drink with me. Then Seo Daeryong turned in the other direction. Where? I'm going to buy you a drink. Is there any alcohol you like? Buy what you want to drink. Here's the money. As I was about to take out the money, Seo Daeryong walked toward me with great strides. I will buy you alcohol today. I started drinking with Seo Daeryong in broad daylight. The alcohol he bought was sweet and easy to drink, but it had the disadvantage of easily leading to excessive drinking. Because I like sweet drinks. I heard you don't like eating that much. I drink alcohol sometimes. After a few drinks, Seo Daeryong revealed his true feelings. You said I was a power-oriented person when you saw me the other day, right? It seems too cold to add the word humaner at the end. Let's just say you have a tendency to be power-oriented. That's it. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's better than being helpless, right? Seo Daeryong, despite his gloomy appearance, had a big dream. Because a person without a dream would not talk about change. Honestly, I want to become successful. I have no desire to achieve justice by preventing corruption at our school. It's hard for me to just make a living. I should have brought Ian here. This is exactly what Ian needs. Why do you feel intimidated when you say you are working hard for yourself? Lift your head up. Seo Daeryong raised his head. How old are you? I'm 32. And? You're older than you look. I was surprised. I thought I was around 23 or 4. No matter how smart you are, to become a special investigator, you would have to have established yourself and gained more than 10 years of experience. Why did you become an investigator? To be honest, I wasn't confident that I would succeed in martial arts. I didn't learn martial arts that would allow me to become a peak expert, and because I was short, I didn't have a body type suitable for martial arts. Hwangkyongak was not a place for combat due to the nature of the organization. A place where school discipline is maintained with absolute authority. Therefore, investigators at Hwangkyongak chose people who were smart, had excellent judgment, and could handle the subject of investigation well, rather than people with strong martial arts skills. It may sound pathetic, but I chose to become an investigator because I wasn't confident in my martial arts skills. Seeing as you keep emphasizing that, I guess you have a lingering attachment to martial arts. Isn't it who it is? If you are someone who has joined the martial arts world, it's still not too late. It's late. This sounds a bit pathetic. Seo Daeryong looked up from his glass of wine and looked at me. You can't do it because it's late? Are you saying you can't do the martial arts you learned because you're weak? Did you say it was because he was short? Do you really think that's why? Seo Daeryong, unable to make any excuses, drank the drink he was holding. It's been so long since I've been beaten so hard, my bones hurt. Even if you stay still later, your bones will ache. You should move before you get old. You're younger than me, but you say things like that easily. I smiled and emptied my glass. At that time, Inspector Hwangkyongak came and told me something. I brought this from the Demon Army. It was a booklet and thousands of taels worth of vouchers. You took the bait. The booklet was a murder contract book. A contract ledger who mobilized demonic forces in the area to kill people and receive money. It is said that this was found in the house of Lord Godang of Illinois Daeju. The ledger detailed which of the warriors in the area had been recruited to work, how much they received, and who they had killed. Coincidentally, the demon soldiers listed in the contract were the ones who died by my hand earlier. It seems that only the parts of their activities were extracted from the schedule and a new schedule was created. The intention is to use those who are already dead to finish this matter. In addition, the number of cases was reduced to 3 or 4 and treated as an aberration by Godang and some demonic forces. The demon lord's own responsibility was minimized. I handed the booklet to Seo Dae-ryong. Soak your face in cold water and wake up. Yes. I will investigate the slip first. It's no use. Because it would be an untraceable slip. Please investigate something else than that. Please speak. Find out who the smartest one is among the demon lords. There's definitely going to be a very knowledgeable and smart guy who doesn't fit in there. All right. I have to meet the demon lord again. Why him? I need to buy some time. We quickly left the room and went about our own business. When we met the demon lord again, he looked much more at ease. Evidence was found at Idiju Godang's house. Oh, that's good. This gave me a breather. I guess I should drink this to celebrate. I'll make a reservation and see you there later yesterday. But there is one problem. Also? What is it this time? I brought this from the demon army. We should have found it ourselves. Annoyance flashed across his face. What's the point of nitpicking so much? Is the source that important? It's important. Is the military general an ordinary person? If it is revealed that the information was received from the Magoon side, the process and results of this investigation will be immediately questioned. If it turns out later, I'll be in danger too. What if we do it? I think I should at least pretend to investigate for a moment. We will conduct a large-scale investigation for just one day, so please cooperate. Do you really want to stay with me? One crucial thing to convince him. I will not look through confidential documents. Just a general document is sufficient. It is a formal investigation anyway. Only after those words did the demon lord nod his head and give permission. Good. I will tell my subordinates to cooperate. With the permission of the demon lord, a large-scale search and seizure began. Magoon's ledgers and documents were moved to the investigation room and the investigation began. I did not ask for any confidential documents that would embarrass the demon lord. There was no need for it anyway. Because that wasn't what I needed. What I found was the application form they wrote when they first applied for the demon army and the will they left before going on a dangerous mission. I secretly brought in the best handwriting expert on campus. And through the materials they brought, they were asked to find out who wrote the contract book. When Seo Dae-ryong returned after completing the investigation, I pretended to be a fortune teller. Would you like to guess who is the smartest among all the warriors in the area? I gave him the name of one person, wondering if it was possible. Young-gu. How did you know? As a result of handwriting comparison, it was revealed that the person who wrote the contract was young Ji-yu. Now we have found out who was in charge of the demon lord's household chores. In addition, solid evidence was secured through handwriting comparison. What now? Whatever. I need to move on to the next step. Bring Young-gu to Magashon Tavern without other people knowing. Can you do it? I'll use my brain sometime. Believe me, I'll be the leader. After one visit, Seo Dae-ryong successfully completed his mission. Young-gu was brought to a bar in Magashon, which was chosen as the meeting place. The one who brought him in was Cho Hyang, a beautiful female investigator from Hwangkyongak. The food here suits my taste. I like the food here too. Young-gu was immersed in anticipation that he might be able to have an enchanting sleep with this woman today. Why are there no customers? This place usually has a lot of customers. Young Ji-yu looked around with a puzzled expression. It's cozy and nice, right? It looks like heaven welcomes our first meal. The steering wheel smiled at him as he raised his voice to the sky in a grandiose way. For the first time, I realized that there is such a thing as love at first sight. The atmosphere is nice, let's have a drink. Great. Young-gu shouted towards the kitchen. Bring us the best alcohol and food here. Then Seo Dae-ryong and I, who had been waiting in the kitchen, came out. It's a shame, but I think I'll have to drink alcohol next time. Young-gu was surprised by my appearance. This Confucius. He was rolling his eyes wondering what the hell was going on and then glared at Jojo in a scary way. Damn bitch. You fooled me. Sigh. The next moment, Young-gu's jaw spun and he rolled around on the floor. Seo Dae-ryong rushed at him like a thunderbolt and struck him with a blow. I am not the type of person to be criticized by someone like you. Seo Dae-ryong imitated me. He said scarily, showing the sole of his foot in the guy's face. Would you like me to burst into tears like you did? Yang Ji-yu shook his head like crazy. No. I was wrong. Seo Dae-ryong was not at all afraid of Yang Ji-yu, who was twice his size. There was a reason other than trusting me. While other investigators who were waiting came and overpowered Yang Ji-yu and took him out the back door, Seo Dae-ryong approached Jo Hyang. Great job. I just did as you advised. He was reputed to be the smartest person in Magoon, so I said I wanted to have a meal with him. I didn't expect you to follow along so easily. If it were you, you would have come even if I had glared at you and told you to eat. At that moment, Jo Hyang laughed mischievously. That's a compliment, right? Seo Dae-ryong made no reply. Jo Hyang came out, said hello to Seo Dae-ryong, and then left. Just the two of us, I told Seo Dae-ryong. You are a very manly man. Yes? Do you like that friend from earlier? No. It was too powerful to say no. The guy who was dull in front of me started shining in front of the steering wheel. Just slap it. Seo Dae-ryong quickly changed the topic with a red face. What happens now? I have to finish it soon. So, mobilize all the investigators and enforcement officers you can. Yes. I'm also calling my favorite junior. I said no. Seo Dae-ryong raised his voice for no reason and left in a hurry. It's necessary to get a ticket like this. I went to the kitchen, got a bottle of alcohol, and sat down on the bar's railing. Come out here. Then Ian walked out from the side of the building with his head down. Foolish Gomtaring, isn't it okay to play alone? I was just wondering if you were okay. Come on. Since we're here, let's have a drink. I'll bring you a glass. It's okay. After drinking from the bottle, I handed it to her. Drink and give it to me. How dare you? Why? Is it dirty because I drank it? No, that can't be possible. It's because I feel sorry for daring to open my mouth. Drink, drink. She drank alcohol. I tried to drink it without touching my mouth as much as possible, but it spilled so much that I threw away my clothes. I'm sorry, Master. Ian. Yes. That's okay. Yes. Everyone in the world does that, but you don't have to do that. I took the bottle from her again and drank. Still, it's nice to see you after not seeing you for a few days. Ian grinned and her eyes were buried in his flesh. It shows when you smile because you are truly happy. Are you doing well in your martial arts training? Yes, I am doing my best. We need more than that. Even evil people do their best. When you say things like this, I feel empowered without even realizing it. Your advice is addictive. Wouldn't you like it if I kept hearing it? It won't be like that. I handed her a bottle of alcohol. Just drink my worries away and go back and wait. And he added an awesome snack to Ian. This work is finished today. Episode 18. Not everyone lives a life of revenge. I woke up Yangu, who was asleep in the chair. Yang Ji-yu, who was looking around in his sleep, realized belatedly that he had been captured. Is the area where you were hit okay? Yes? Yes. Yangu was taken aback when I treated him gently. Honestly, I like smart people like you. I feel frustrated when I see people who are simply ignorant, make no sense, and push stubborn opinions as if they were some kind of belief. You don't do that, do you? Why did you come to arrest me? I thought you would know better than that. Honestly, I don't want to torture you. As you know, is our torture a bit harsh? You turn a normal person into a wreck and throw him away, right? There is no use threatening you. I don't know anything. No. I don't think you know anything. I guess I just did as I was told. You just have to be honest about it. I do not know. Nothing was ordered. Then I guess I should talk to someone other than you. Another me. The one who cares more about you than you do. When I gave the signal, an old man came in from outside. This is a person who has spent his entire life doing nothing but torture. What is the success rate of confession? Although he was a short old man, the energy he gave off was truly terrifying. It's my old grandfather. At this level, you are an interrogation expert. Not really. Of those 9, Ohal died after confessing. What about the rest? They are destitute and surviving by begging. The old man's raw spirit was so intense that Yang Jiyu could not bear it and shouted. "Please save me," I said, lightly patting Yang Jiyu on the shoulder. "You go in now. I think I should call you out and hear your story from someone who is less brave than you and wants to avoid unnecessary pain. He may be less loyal or trustworthy than you, but at least he will love you more. So you can just go away." Meanwhile, the old man lit a fire in the brazier and began heating iron skewers of various thicknesses on it. The businesslike appearance of not even humming created a sense of fear. Yangu, who was frightened, spoke as if pleading. "If I tell you, I will die. Even if I don't say anything, I will die from the Demon Lord. Let's think. How will the Demon Lord come out if he hears that you have been captured by me? They will do whatever it takes to get rid of you. You know better than me what kind of person he is, right?" Yangu's agitation and fear were shaking in his shaking eyes. "You know? No matter where you hide them, they will eventually find you and kill you. There is only one way for you to live." "What is it?" I brought my face close to Yangu's face. I stared into his terrified eyes and whispered like a devil. "Hit first before you get hit. Of course, you will have to leave our school. Still, with a martial arts skill of your level, you can probably live well anywhere." At this moment I was a real devil. Because you were seducing him and lying at the same time. I had no intention of letting him go. If you commit a crime, you must be punished. There is no time to worry. It would have been known by now that you had fallen into our hands. In fact, the Demon Lord was not yet aware of his disappearance. Yangu fell asleep and woke up with no concept of time, but only an hour had passed since he was captured. "Or test your willpower." I turned around immediately so as not to give him time to think. At that time, Yangu's voice was heard from behind. "What should I do?" "When the Hwangkyongak investigators come in, you can state all the facts that happened." "And then what?" "We are going to capture the Demon Lord. You will leave our school with a new identity." Yangu's worries did not last long. "Great. I'll do it." I left the room straight away. The Hwangkyongak investigators who were waiting outside were made to go inside. He ordered the old man who came to torture him to continue heating the iron skewer next to him. After a while, Seo Dae-ryong came and reported what Yang Ji-yu had confessed. Indeed, as Jang Ho guessed, it was the Demon Lord who ordered the killing of the Hwangkyongak investigator and Jang Ho's classmate. The person who carried it out was already dead. Besides that, there were countless other evil deeds. I killed a lot of people one way or another. That's why Seo Dae-ryong was worried. The Demon Lord will not be arrested easily. You will know that if you are caught, you will be beheaded. I won't arrest you. Yes? I will kill you. Seo Dae-ryong was so surprised that he gasped. His open mouth would not close. If the Demon Lord is arrested, the Blood Heaven demon will definitely move. I can't just sit back and watch my younger brother be executed. If that happens, the situation becomes a headache. It would be nice to expose his crime in front of everyone and deal with him through a formal trial, but that is just an ideal. There will be a lot of fabricated evidence showing that he was behind it, and there will be slander against me and all kinds of conspiracy theories spread as a scapegoat to blame him for his crimes. But if the Demon Lord dies during the arrest process, the situation will be different. Because all that remains is evidence to prove the guilt. Hyul Kyondoma will seek revenge. Not everyone lives a life of revenge just because their family member died. In particular, Hyul Kyondoma will not waste his life on revenge. How can you be sure? Because I know what kind of life he lived. I'm not sure. However, even if you take revenge, you won't be able to move right away. If I get hurt or die, no matter who sees it, it will be my fault. Rather, you should protect me so that I don't get misunderstood, right? What about later? I will be stronger by then, so you don't have to worry. I left the room, leaving Seo Dae-ryong standing there with a blank expression on his face, wondering if this made sense or what to say. As I was walking down the hallway, Seo Dae-ryong opened the door and came out. Where are you going? No way, right? What if it's true? Shall we go together? Seo Dae-ryong flinched. I'm going to buy drinks. Don't worry, just wait. That assumption was correct. It's also true that I bought alcohol. The Demon Lord who welcomed me had a carefree look on his face. The investigation is over. Yes, thanks to you, it ended well. I feel sad thinking about breaking up with Li Gongya. I gave an answer that I had no intention of hearing in response to a question I had no intention of hearing. If I become your successor in the future, I will definitely return the favor you showed me this time. That's what I'm going to do. I will definitely not forget the favor that was given to me this time. Yes, he will never forget this. He was greedy and suffered huge losses. I lost Godang, the head of the Su tribe, and I provided evidence with my own hands. If the investigator wasn't me, I probably would have died several times. With that in mind, would you like a drink? I poured the alcohol I had brought into a glass prepared on a table in the corner. Let's drink now. After toasting with him, we had a drink. He was a celebration week and I was a breakup week. Why did you do that? What? Even if I spend it until I get old and die, I will still have money that I will never be able to use. I'm asking why you were so greedy that you used Demon Lord as a contractor. For a moment, the Demon Lord's expression hardened. You should have asked that from the dead Lord. What would a puppet know? What are you talking about? I was curious about our monarch's state of mind. Simbo? Did you just tell me to report it? But what is in that blackness? You will only be filled with a desire to have more. This guy said, let's see. At the very moment the excited Demon Lord started yelling, my sword, which was looking for an opportunity, was pulled out. Easy profit. Phew. A flash of sword light sprayed out and my sword pierced the Demon Lord's chest. It entered by taking the opponent's breath at close range, and the attack was so fast that the Demon Lord could not avoid it. Baishan sword technique, 5th style, Changchen style. Among the 8 sword techniques of the Baishan sword technique, the quick sword ceremony was performed. Even though he was stabbed in the heart, he did not die instantly. He slowly sat down with the sword pierced through him. His face was blank, as if he couldn't figure out what was going on. Then he looked at me with lifeless eyes. If you pull out that sword stuck in his heart, he will die. I spoke softly in a calm tone. Demon Lord Jiu Qionyang, you are arrested on charges of personal misappropriation of the Demon Lord, over 20 murders, and instigation of murder. Only then did the Demon Lord's eyes turn to the sword lodged in his chest. This isn't an arrest, is it? It's a death sentence anyway, so please go like this for the sake of the others. I'm sorry about the surprise attack. I drew my sword and the Demon Lord died. I could have just killed him after a fierce fight, but I didn't. It would be better to make people think that they killed him in a matter of days due to luck. I called all the Demon Lords and Nether Pavilion investigators there. Everyone gathered except for the Magoon area, which was on probation. The Demon Lord, who committed a serious crime, died after failing to comply during the arrest process. My loud words echoed throughout the hall. Everyone took turns looking at me and the Demon Lord's corpse with shocked faces. I probably didn't know that the Demon Lord would die. Among those who were surprised was Samdeju Django. Joy flashed through his eyes as he looked at the Demon Lord's corpse. It was the moment when revenge for the death of a friend was achieved. The same was true for Seo De Ryong. It was the moment when the effort of memorizing all the gods of demons to avenge my senior had finally come to an end. I immediately gave an order to Seo De Ryong. You should arrest everyone in the Magoon area, imprison them, and formally investigate this incident. Yes. Next, I gave orders to Django. Under the command of the 3 great lords, Django, all demon troops except the area will assist the Huanqian Pavilion investigators in arresting the entire demon army. Since the right of summary disposition has been granted, this order has the same effect as a religious order. Implement it immediately. All right. Jiang Ho led the demon army and followed Seo De Ryong. If the Demon Lord is alive, catch this guy, kill that guy. The problem is when he gets heated up, he has already cooled down. Loyalty maintained through fear collapses like a sand castle with the death of the leader. Django, who was turning around to leave, looked back at me. We shared the emotions of this moment with a faint smile. Thank you. It's thanks to you. After the arrest of the Magoon area, Seo De Ryong returned to the place where we stayed. After arresting everyone in the Magoon area, they subdued the internal forces and imprisoned them. In the process, 6 fighters were injured, but no one died. Good job. Even though the work is over, Seo De Ryong seems worried. You really killed the Demon Lord. If you leave it alive, many people will become murderers. Jiang Ho, who sent the letter, will eventually die. Many of the 3 great warriors who tried to protect him will also be sacrificed. You are no exception. Oh, you thought that far. Seo Daeryong could not hide his rising passion. Confucius is a truly just man. What is justice? I'm just angry that I'm messing with what I'm inheriting. I am such a selfish person. So don't misunderstand. Seo Daeryong, who was staring at me in silence, bowed his head politely. Thank you for your effort. You worked hard too. Seo Daeryong, who was turning around to leave, suddenly spoke. But I? I hope Duke Li will become my successor. I thought that maybe those words were the highest praise a person named Seo Daeryong could give. As soon as Seo Daeryong finished speaking, he went out. As I was about to follow him, something caught my eye and I sat down on the bed for a moment. The blanket on the bed where the crow's corpse lay had been replaced with a clean new one. It seems that Seo Daeryong changed his name even in the midst of his busy schedule. When I got up and looked out the window, I saw Seo Daeryong leaving the building and walking across the training ground. He stuck his head out the window and shouted. Can't you just look me in the eye and say that right? Seo Daeryong was walking faster towards the entrance. Beyond his back, I could see where I needed to go. Was it because I felt like I had gotten a few steps closer because of this? Keon Majian looked more grand than usual.